Hi, I'm Daisy Mack. This is Spiritual Mixtape. Today I have the energy update for April 13, April 19, and it's called The Painful End or The Beautiful Beginning. I always start with a thank you to all of you. The community is really growing. Thank you so much for being here. This is a year that's going to change us for sure. The astrology isn't just rare, it's once in a 5,000, once in a 6,000 year rare. It's that special. But the thing that's really important to my community this week isn't just the Aries stellium and the Aries new moon. And look, I do think that the Aries energy is vital. I've made a free breath work just for the Aries new moon. It drops on Wednesday in my free community. But until then, and until we move past it, what actually happens this week that's really significant is that Chiron, our wounded healer, makes his final Kasimi, so his final moment with the sun before he leaves Aries completely. But what does this mean for you? Well, he moved into this, Chiron, our wounded healer, the archetype of the wound we never heal but we learn to manage. He moved into Aries in 2018, and we have been working on the wound of value and worth since then. For me, this is so deeply significant. 2018 is when I was diagnosed with PTSD. It's when I took my sound healing certification, and it's when I began yoga again. And it's when I realized that I had to change my life or I was going to get really, really, really ill. Just even saying that. I know that I'm not the only person out there sharing this. And what feels so great about this week is that I can finally put those painful worth wounds to bed. And for me, this is really happening right now. I've told you all that I was in the music industry. It's how I ended up in the States. But this weekend is Coachella. That used to be my mecca. I used to come all the way from the UK to Coachella, and it was one of the reasons I wanted to move to Los Angeles to start with. And not going to these things, not having the kudos and the passes, that was a hard thing to walk away from. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm not ashamed to say that I was willing to make myself ill to be in a job that made me feel important. I actually think that's the whole thing with Chiron in Aries and this Kasimi and it leaving and the Aries stellium is being able to admit that I put myself through so much for a job, for some Coachella passes. Having said that, I mean, Coachella looks great this year. I didn't think I was worthy without all of that stuff. And it's taken years to build my worth up. And it's really tough to run a business and show up here on YouTube and on my podcast when you don't really feel worthy. And when you're talking about things that, thank you guys, because you seem to really love the same things that I love. And thank you. And there are people joining the community and you love what I love too. But if I hadn't have built my worth and my value back up, I wouldn't be here now. My husband has always been one of my fire horses. And in 2019, when I left my job, he bought me a podcast kit and said, you should start telling your story. I was not ready to. I wasn't ready to until 4 years later, within just a few episodes, we got the British Airways in-flight entertainment. And I realized it was time to be seen. But I battle this worthiness and this value piece all the time. So if you've been out there feeling like that too, please spend this week really reflecting on what the wound is that you're healing and what will always kind of be there. Because everything that I've just said, I hope that you realize the wounded healer, this is something that you will continue to carry, but it just doesn't need to be your main storyline anymore. Pick a new core wound to have in the Aries stellium. I wanted to tell you also about the ideas of sexy dances. I had a whole musical reference. When I talk about the sexy dances, it's about the sextiles because there is so much sextile energy this week. Now, any millennials or older Gen Xers out there, and I'm sorry to my Gen Zers, but I think you'll like this video. There was a video in 2000 by a band called Texas, and the song was called In Demand. And there is a really famous part of the music video. The lead singer, Charlene, dances with Alan Rickman. We all know who he is. He's Professor Snape from Harry Potter in a gas station, petrol station to my Europeans. And it is one of the hottest, sexiest dancers. And even at 16, when I first saw that video, and they were old people to me then, and now I'm like, oh my God, she's so young. But when I watch that now, and even when I watched it then, you knew that it was hot. And that's what a sextile is. A sextile is a hot dance moment where it feels really, really good, and you should learn from that hot dance, from that hot moment, but it doesn't necessarily last. I don't know if you've been tricked into one of those situations in your love life where you have ended up being like, whoa, that is not what I signed up for at all. And what I felt in the moment was something completely different. Anyway, Alan Rickman does this hot dance with Charlene from Texas. And the whole video is basically about how he looks like the rich older man. But actually, at the end of the video, you learn that Charlene is the one that's in demand and that it was her chauffeur-driven car. And he still isn't the man that she needs to be with or should want to be with. I tell that story not just about the energy of a sextile, which is going to hit you multiple times this week. I tell it to you because there's a lesson in that moment. Those moments don't need to last forever. They just need to teach you one thing. If you can begin to recognize when that energy is coming up, when that excitement is coming up, you don't need to chase it like dopamine. You just need to ask yourself, what is this teaching me? And what do I need to keep? If we don't, and if we try and stay in that sextile once the sextile's moved on, we create tough situations and misalignment. But that painful end is exactly your beautiful beginning. Those situations teach us so much about our worth, how we are in demand, and how we just didn't see it. Because the narrative of that situation would always keep us with a ceiling, would always keep us disadvantaged. Anyway, I just wanted to share that before we move on. This is the energy update for April 13th to April 19th, and it's called The Painful End or The Beautiful Beginning. There has been so much talk about the beginning, about the Aries energy, the start, and rightfully so. We have a new moon in Aries this week, and all the planets, literally all of them, 7 of them anyway, are lining up to enter the start of the zodiac wheel. But if you have been listening to everyone preach about the beginning, the start, the fresh start, all the ways in which you can begin again, the Lunar New Year, the 1 year, the fire horse, the Aries stellium, and being like, I don't feel it. I am stuck. I am in a karma loop and I don't feel good enough, worthy enough, full stop, to start this next chapter. Then this week is going to offer you some relief. Because yes, we are at the beginning of the Aries energy and all the planets are being reactivated by it. But we are also at its end when it comes to our wound. This week holds last Chiron Kazemi in Aries for 40 years. So while everything else is entering, our wonderful Chiron is leaving. Explaining why this is a good thing and what it means will take a minute. So get cozy and come on in. Chiron is the archetype of the wounded healer. This is the version of us who can hold both the scar and its prickly thorn while still living with an open and curious heart. When beautiful, empathetic Chiron is in Aries, he is working on the core wound of value and worth. And a Kazemi is when the planet moves through the sun and all the archetypal energies of both the planet and the sign are changed or amplified by the sun's energy. So this week, you get to finally see what you have gained from the wound of worth and value. Now imagine starting your next big story, your next big adventure, already knowing your worth and your intrinsic value to yourself and to the world. Imagine that. You would have all sorts of healthy boundaries, natural magnetism, and an unbeatable inner GPS. All of that sweet and tender wisdom is what is informing all of the planets moving into Aries. Starting the very next day when our sweet and emotional moon becomes completely new in Aries. It is like you are handing over a blueprint to all the planets that this Aries season, this Aries era You know what you deserve, and you know how that is going to shape your story. This moment, this first half of the week, really, truly, and honestly reflect on what you have been healing since 2018. If this resonates with you, it will be very, very, very significant. But perhaps you have always known the dates. Something happened in 2018 before, just after. And you have been so busy working on healing that you haven't noticed that you've actually healed, that you are whole, and that there is context and words that you can give to that chapter. This first half of the week, you can do that. And of course, this is the moment to talk again about our fire horse friends. These are the people who are Jupitering you. They amplify you, and in turn, you amplify them. They are deeply touched this week, of course, by the Chiron Kazemi. Of course, they are likely people who share your wound as well. But on Monday, we have Venus sextiling Jupiter. So even if you feel like you have nothing to offer, your worth has been so knocked that you feel like you're at the beginning of stuff and cannot possibly open a door for anyone else, I want you to know that you're wrong. There are baby fire horses looking for you, and it is very much your job to be clear and findable for them. And like I said, this starts the week. This is Monday's energy, and it's terribly assertive. It's so powerful, but it brings with it an element of action from you, an element of sovereignty. Your fire horses are creating opportunities for connection and expansion. Don't be passive. Go out and find the energy that you want to be in. And even while you're looking for it, don't forget to keep your signal on. It might be that you were found when you were looking. We are already deep into the update, but there are still two big energies to discuss that are happening this week. They are Mercury's activation. He's a busy guy this week. And the Aries stellium, of course, everyone's talking about it. And in the midst of the Aries stellium, the most activating point this week around the new moon. Now, let's start with the more unexpected one, Mercury. Mercury enters Aries, of course, with the whole cast. And rather than arriving like the other planets are, with a plan to change, improve, and grow, our Mercury arrives this week, ready to date. And I've got to be honest with you, these are great first dates. Mercury is making sextiles, and you know that I call those sexy dances. With Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, his card is full, my friends. And he very much thinks he is a young Casanova, winning over all of these older, wiser outer planets. What he doesn't realize, our sweet young Mercury, is that these outer planets are ancient. They go slow. They watch and they observe. And they know who he is completely. He doesn't understand that these wonderful outer planets may be having great first dates with him, but he isn't in control. He's the one being schooled. And what are these outer planets showing him? And what, in turn, are they showing you? It's really quite beautiful. The picture that they're painting is exactly how good things could be if you changed how you think and speak about the world you live in. Mercury governs not just our communication, but our thought process. And the outer planets are about the world, collective, and how we move in it. So when they are making supportive aspects together, it is like being able to see how good it could get and reprogramming our thoughts to how good it could get. This is such a significant mental upgrade, especially if the turbulence in the world has been causing you to feel down. It'll speak to you personally, but also into what you could be part of. If this energy touches your heart this week, it'll be sweet, activating, but also slightly combustible. This is a sexy dance. It is spicy. It is going to show you from a place of passion what you could get instead. Don't be afraid, but work like the outer planets. Rather than rush, slow down. Now, I want to pause here and just say we're really getting used to weeks of multiple big energies. And this is another one, only a moment after not just eclipse energy, eclipse with such rare aspects. We won't see these aspects again for maybe 5,000, 6,000, or even ever. That's how rare this is. For the next few months, there is going to be 1 week a month that spreads its energetic wings like this, multiple big energies. The Aries stellium and the Aries new moon deserve attention, of course, but they are punchy and impactful precisely because of all of the aspects, transits, and numerology happening around them. And it is really worth remembering that. We have a new moon in Aries. New moons are always special because in darkness we form, we begin, and we trust. This one has a big story and role, joined by quite the ensemble cast. The Sun, Mercury, Venus, Chiron, the North Node, Saturn, Neptune, I think I've got them all, are all in Aries at once. That's rare, not to be seen again for several lifetimes. This is an incredible time to be here. The new moon is right next to Chiron. So close, in fact, that the new moon might as well be sitting on Chiron's lap. So snug. And let's say, since we like a dating analogy in this week's update, let's say they are on a very, very good date. Where would it be? It would be a bar. And this bar happens to be one of the final stops in Aries. It's like meeting the new love of your life on a flight to see your boyfriend or girlfriend on the 30th of December. It has that level of wow, tension, and sliding doors. Healing your wound around worth is the very thing that opens you up to the next big thing. Your beginning is so heavily tied to your end, and that is beautiful, just like you. So I just want to pause at the end of this week's update and tell you a little bit about what I'm planning. I feel like I have been on the go since June last year when we found out that I was going to need to have an operation to remove the abnormal cells and lumps in my breast. I decided to have a mastectomy, and I have a second operation in May. I am well and I am cancer-free. But having said all of that, I haven't had much opportunity to dream. I haven't had a ton of opportunity to think much beyond what will happen after Operation 1 and Operation 2. But this week, buoyed by how many more people are joining the community and how much my OGs bought into my small offerings that I put out last week, I've decided it's time to start dreaming again from a place of being whole, knowing my value, and knowing your worth. So this week, I am putting out 2 wait lists. And if this is something that you are interested in, I'd really welcome hearing from you. The first is our first ever retreat to Costa Rica. I wanted to keep it a secret. I want to tell you everything. Costa Rica. And if you're interested in coming, I'm going to do a breathwork and an info session. Just drop your name onto the waitlist. Details are in the show notes. Now, the second waitlist is for the certification. The certification is my absolute baby. It's so important and so precious to me. But I put it on sale and started planning it before I understood the magnitude of the operation I was going to have. And if I had understood, I wouldn't have done it. But I'm actually not sure Spiritual Mixtape would have been there. It gave me a reason to keep working through a lot of fear and through a lot of change. We just did the first certification and graduated 4 students. And we recorded in a real life studio here in LA. My students taught with me at one of my classes at Arthur, which was sold out. I have built this certification around all the things I didn't get in a time when I needed doors opened and help. It's why I keep talking about the fire horse going both ways. It's not just about the people opening doors for you. And of course, I'm always looking for people who are going to expand me and make me stretchy, but it's about the doors that you're opening for others that expand you and make you stretchy. I can tell you over and over again, the certification at this point in my health journey was really, really tough, but we did it. In the midst of all of that, I love my community and I would love to bring you all on the breathwork journey. So you'll find details about that as well in the show notes. Next month, we have our free offering, morning meditations. I know that was a lot. This last year has been really hard for me, and I just have to get a little better at talking to you all about these things. So that's it from me. 2 waitlist, morning meditations, free community, free breath work for the new moon in Aries. If you've listened this far, you should just join. You obviously really like my vibe, which means that you'll like everyone in the community who are so lovely, so wonderful, want to do breath work, believe in energy, and want to create a safe place when the world feels quite out of control. I love you guys. I'm not going to stop showing up for you. Please keep commenting. Please keep telling me what you like, what you don't like, and I'll just keep being me. Here is to your value and your worth and your beautiful new beginning. See you next week.